Hey, friends! John Carpenter. He's had a long and storied career, and he's known for things like Halloween and The Fog, but he's also done fun romps such as Big Trouble in Little China. And he's not just a director, but a writer and composer as well. So I thought it was high time we looked at one of his pictures. This time we're talking about Assault on Precinct 13 from 1976. Now, Carpenter is known for his horror movies, and this one could be considered a horror movie, maybe, but it's really more of an action movie, albeit an action movie on a very slow boil. Our story goes like this. Newly promoted Lieutenant Bishop is assigned to mind the store at a police station that is about to be shut down the next day. There's only a skeleton staff on hand. This station is in an abandoned section of Los Angeles due for demolition. Meanwhile, a bus with some prisoners is headed to another jail when one convict becomes sick, so the bus has to stop at this police station. Also, meanwhile, 4 gang dudes decide to go on a killing spree and murder some people. This leads to an altercation where a man guns down their leader. Then the gang chases him to this police station. More and more gang dudes show up, and soon they start blasting away. Bishop, the secretaries, and the convicts need to hold out until help arrives, but they're cut off from the outside world, and even after killing dozens of gang guys, they're still under attack, and their ammo is running low. Can they make it? Can they survive? The action in Assault on Precinct 13 actually takes place at Precinct 9, but the title was later changed because studio folk thought Precinct 13 sounded better. Assault on Precinct 13 is sort of a retelling of 2 other movies, the first being Rio Bravo, which I've reviewed elsewhere on the channel. It's about a motley group of heroes holed up in a jail defending a prisoner and, more broadly, the rule of law against a gang of killers. Rio Bravo was directed by Howard Hawks, who was a hero of Carpenter's, so he references Hawks' work in several movies, including this one. In fact, Carpenter really wanted to make a Western, but he knew he didn't have the budget for a period piece, so he updated everything to a more contemporary time and place. And Assault on Precinct 13 was the result. Carpenter was also doing a riff on Night of the Living Dead from 1968. The gang members are depicted like the zombies in that movie, an almost unstoppable army of killers uttering few, if any, lines. It's never explained where this gang comes from in such numbers, because we only see 4 guys at the beginning. And it's never explained why they go on this killing spree, although there are a few lines about high sunspot activity, but it's a big stretch to tie all that stuff together. Austin Stoker plays Bishop, the lieutenant. He's been in a lot of stuff throughout his career, including the Return to the Planet of the Apes TV series in 1975. That same year he was in Airport 75. He also appears in the famous Death Probe episode of The $6 Million Man, where a Russian Venus probe accidentally lands on Earth and wreaks havoc before Steve Austin can stop it. That was a great 2-part episode. Darwin Jostin plays the death row inmate Napoleon Wilson. He was neighbors with John Carpenter, who sort of based the character on Jostin when he was writing the script, so it only made sense for Jostin to be cast in the role. Wilson may be his biggest part, though he did lots of small parts and guest spots on TV. Later, he became a transportation crewman for movie and television crews. Lori Zimmer, in her debut, is great as the laconic office worker, coming off almost a little B. Arthur-ish. Seriously, there's times you think she'll say,
God will get you for that, Walter.
Really, she's very good here. Standout performance as a tough lady with lots of moxie. She didn't think she was very good in this, though, and she didn't do much after this movie, sadly. Tony Burton plays Wells, the other inmate. He was in tons of stuff, including the Rocky movies and a recurring role on Frank's Place. And Kim Richards plays an annoying kid. At least for a little while. We last saw her in The Car, which came out a year after this movie. Several cast members later appeared in other John Carpenter movies throughout the years, which is kind of cool. I think that tells you something about Carpenter and what it'd be like to work with him. The soundtrack Carpenter provided is fairly minimalist, and although it was made in 1976, the movie has a very 80s sound to it. If you watch this one, you'll see what I mean. There was a remake of the movie in 2005 starring Ethan Hawke and Lawrence Fishburne. Usually I'd watch both and compare them for you, but I've not seen that one yet. Maybe I'll review that separately down the road. I'm giving Assault on Precinct 13 2.5 paws up. It's very good, very watchable, and the movie is a classic and very much a product of its time. It is slow to get going, though, maybe too slow. But once it does, it keeps you interested the rest of the way, and there are some fine performances turned in by the principal cast. You can watch my review of The Late Show here, and down there you can see more reviews of movies from the 1970s. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.